Business. It's a word we hear every day and can sometimes conjure negative connotations. I'm Amwyn Cooper, Director at Get Fruitful Marketing, and by hosting this podcast, I'm on a mission to expose business for what it really could be, a force for greater good. Each episode, we bring personal stories from game-changing entrepreneurs who share what business for good means for them and how they are pioneering new ways of working to create more prosperity and positive impact for people and the planet. So, if you're interested in growing a passion-fueled, purpose-driven enterprise and believe that business can be a force for greater good, then get ready to get fruitful with today's conversation. So, our guest today is Stuart Tanton. He is Director at the Kent Foundation, where he's been working for the last 5 years. I'm really excited to welcome Stuart today. He is really experienced in business, has also done lots of work with the third sector and local government, and he knows loads about business planning, coaching, entrepreneurship, strategic planning, and he's a specialist in working with young people. So with the Kent Foundation, they are a unique charity providing essential support for Kent's young entrepreneurs, and they have been working for the last 35 years and helping hundreds of new enterprises to launch and grow across the county. So welcome, Stuart.
Thank you for having me, Amwyn.
It's brilliant to be here. So my first question that I usually start with is, what does business as a force for good mean for you and your work?
So business being a force for good, I think it's something that we at the Kent Foundation have thought quite a lot about, actually, because the Kent Foundation being a charity is, what pulls the heartstrings a little bit when it comes to sort of raising donations. I think what good we provide, and equally what good does business give to people. And I think a number of things sort of have come out of that, certainly in our sort of day-to-day businesses. One, obviously, is creating employment for people. So businesses, give people a lifestyle, give people an income and all that's involved in that, supporting them and their families, and that then brings money into local economy, local communities. Nothing would happen without that. Business is essential within a community context, and I think, we focus on sort of what is community within the Kent Foundation, and I think, business is at the heart of all communities. It's in some ways, sort of industries have changed over the last sort of 20, 30 years in Kent, and business has sort of changed. Perhaps some people might not think that there's as much local business, not so many local businesses who employ local people, but actually businesses, we've seen over the last couple of years, we've all been quite capable of working from home, and actually a lot of businesses use that model and have done before. So I think, businesses force for good is very much there's very much a community element about that. So it keeps people within their local, in those local communities that they live and active as well. So I think business is good in that way. And it also, and equally, I suppose when you're just thinking about local, that multiplies up to sort of on a national level. And people want security, don't they? People want sort of stability. And if you've got a healthy economy, that gives people that sense of stability for themselves personally, but you can sort of see it reflected, hopefully, in the sort of economy of how the country's going. I don't want to go and get into politics or anything like that, but I do think, when there are times, I think we're sort of seeing sort of high growth at the moment in certain industries, and that fills people with confidence, and then that gives people the ability to sort of buy their own homes, or be able to know that they can afford to pay the rent and live and exist and give them a lifestyle that they perhaps want or work towards. So that's.
And I'm just thinking, so within the foundation itself, obviously a lot of your work is around more experienced people in business, mentoring younger people. And obviously there's a fundraising element to what you do. Obviously, kind of both of those give more established businesses opportunities to give back, don't they? So I guess that's another way in which you're offering people an opportunity to use their existing businesses as a force for good to kind of encourage the next generation of new businesses starting up.
Yeah, we have a huge resource with our volunteer business mentors, and as you said, they come from a range of backgrounds, different industries, but they have that experience and that breadth and depth of knowledge that anyone starting out a business would love to sort of be able to tap into, and so matching up, and primary reason often is for them getting involved is so they have had success and they want to give it back and give people that opportunity. And like you and I have probably been given opportunities by people which has just sort of helped enable us to make that next step, and that's what we provide at the Kent Foundation through our volunteers, and it's our number one essential sort of offering as a charity, and it gives there's a purpose for them as well. It's not just sort of about giving; they get so much from it in sort of seeing.
In that.
Absolutely. As part of the training, we sort of ask what's in it for you a little bit, and very often it is that satisfaction of seeing those businesses sort of making those steps forward, hopefully going on to sort of thrive. That's the ambition. What the Kent Foundation wants is successful businesses out of this. It's not a quick fix. It's not something that we will see happen overnight for those individuals, but it's knowing that they're stepping, making those right steps forward, and learning how to make those sort of decisions and deal with the things that don't work out, and for someone...
I was going to say there must be a big sort of personal development thing that comes with it as well. I mean, obviously you've spoken about the financial impact on the economy, creating jobs and how that ripples out to the local community. But obviously there's the personal side of it as well, where you've got individuals being given that mentoring and support to actually become more confident in themselves, or to learn skills, or what have you.
There's actually some of the things that are going on sort of within the Kent Foundation at the moment in sort of who we're supporting. Is it the young person or is it the business?
Right.
And what and what do we where do we add value most? Yes, we want to sort of see these businesses go forward, but exactly right. We're developing those individuals.
Sort of seeing people's journeys and transformation.
Absolutely.
Really inspiring.
And I think it's right to focus on the business. We're a business support organisation. That's what the charity is there to provide support for. But behind all businesses are individuals, and we're all affected in different ways by different things. Many of the young people was supporting. Some of them are families themselves, so they've got a lot of other sort of things going on for them. So it's about how do you balance all those other things with what you're trying to achieve within your business. So I think because we probably on the Kent Foundation journey come from more supporting the individual to actually moving more towards a business support model. I think it's good not to sort of lose track of the fact that there's people behind this and they're individuals, and life happens. So why have they not achieved what they wanted to? Well, that's actually everyone at every stage in business. Not everything always quite works to plan for whatever reasons, and I think it's good that I think that's where we're quite good in the sense of balance it in recognising the fact that that's life. So but our mentors come aboard because of their experience in business and their passion for business, and that's that's what we want to see achieved for them. But equally, we are there to we're there to sort of walk through this business journey with them as individuals, really, and it's an important point. It's a really important point because business means very different things to different people. Some people go into business for different reasons. Some are very ambitious because they want to, have a very successful business that they might be able to sell on and exit for a large amount of money. Others just want to make an income. They want to support their their lifestyle, make things better for themselves. And there's two very different sort of mindsets, and there's lots of other mindsets sort of go towards, maybe. It may be sort of the business may be about actually changing. They want to sort of change the way an industry is perceived because of that's, don't like a disruptor sort of thing, and that's their purpose. That's their passion that they want to achieve. It's not just what they do to make money. It's how they're going about it and why they're going and why they're doing it.
If you'd like to make your business a greater force for good, increase your impact and income while fulfilling your passion, purpose, and potential, then the Get Fruitful Marketing Health Check is a great place for you to start. It's all online and can be accessed from the Get Fruitful homepage, getfruitfulmarketing.com. The health check takes just 3 minutes and will give you an instant personalised report with insights to make your marketing more fruitful. So hop on to getfruitfulmarketing.com, take your health check now, and make your marketing more fruitful today. So obviously I gave a little bit of an introduction and talked about the fact that you've been with the foundation for coming up for 5 years now. Yeah. But I know that you've brought lots of experience from sort of before that time. Yeah. What do you think have been the big lessons that you've learned through your career to this point? And maybe sort of fill in the gaps a little bit of your journey. How did you get to this?
Yeah, I find it hard to believe myself, and I will be honest. So I actually started my full-time employment in 1988, so it was a long time ago. And I was given a fantastic opportunity to do something that actually I'm very passionate about and love doing. So it's within publishing, and I got given opportunities to be able to sort of learn a trade and grow in that job. And I was there for many years. I think I've always probably been a little bit entrepreneurial, which is partly why I'm really passionate about what I'm doing now. It comes out because I was in the job, and I was in that job for 16, 17 years, so a long time, and saw it through sort of a digital transformation as well, and things like that. So it was, but quite early on, and this is actually probably wouldn't have been that long after the Kent Foundation was founded, and I wasn't aware of the Kent Foundation at the time, but I started a little side hustle myself, just because. Yeah. And it was pitch framing. So it was something that I could just do in my sort of spare time, and it wasn't something I thought about doing. It was something that I was asked. I did something for myself. I was asked, and it started to get replicated and actually the last time I took a commission was for, I think it was for Canterbury Christchurch students, end of year, something, big exam, lots of pictures, 320 something pictures all in one go. And it was way too much to do it with a full-time job at the same time. And I had no idea, I had no concept of how I would I did it, but I wasn't thinking of it business-like at all. And I never made much money on it, in all honesty. It was proper little side hustle, which is something I quite like doing. But yeah, so I did that, and then later on in my sort of employed sort of life, I was in a very fortunate position where I bought my own home and actually had the opportunity to do like a lot of other people go down a buy-to-let sort of route as well, actually. So I started sort of building up, like a few properties to sort of do up and rent out and such, which is still continues now. It's not big. I'm not a big sort of landlord, but I think it was growing. It was, it's just that sort of wanting to sort of have some control of some of my own things as well. As I love my job, but I wanted to do other things, and that's a bit entrepreneurial. I sort of wanted to make a little bit of money as well and secure my sort of future and whatever. So I did that, and then. And that sort of carried on really. Now the job that I had came to an end. I was made redundant in 2004, and part of that was the industry that I was in, maps and publishing, was going through quite a critical sort of stage really for a lot of companies would have been facing the same sort of challenges. And I sort of made the decision not to go into full-time work after that. I wanted to sort of break. Do something different. And actually, I'd already been working with young people. I'd already been a volunteer youth worker for many years. And actually, around the same sort of time, I was approached to do some paid youth work, which was again a side hustle. It was something else that I did. And anyway, when I was sort of without a full-time job, a few doors sort of opened for me to be able to sort of get a few more hours. At the end of the day, there's bills to pay and such. So I became a bit more of a significant sort of paid youth work, and doing lots of work with the local authority, and then that sort of really became a sort of full-time job, but on 0 hours, which is quite controversial. Lots of people don't like those sort of things, but it suited me.
Yeah, it was flexible.
Yeah, it was flexible, and I didn't want to go down that route. And I started developing, so where did this all sort of come from? It was a little bit, I was given great opportunities as a young person, and I've always, you can do a couple of things like that. You can either just sort of think, well, good for me, or you can sort of think, actually other young people should have the same opportunity, or be given at least sort of opportunities to sort of know what opportunities are out there. So I think a lot of my working life has always been spent doing that. Sort of because when I was at state applications, I'd get involved with sort of apprentices coming in and going out, and also talking about the work that we did and things like that at schools and colleges. Yeah. So, but yeah, it developed, and the youth work, I started getting some sort of quite big sort of contracts, not contracts, but setting up some decent sized projects to sort of create opportunities for young people. That's where I sort of started going with it really. To actually my first introduction with the Kent Foundation, which was around working within schools and colleges and sort of doing some workshops around entrepreneurship and enterprise. So as a complete freelancer, as a complete sort of, someone that I didn't have a full-time job, but sort of making it up a bit as I went along at the time, got involved in the Kent Foundation then, so I had a bit of an understanding of it. And went on to sort of develop that a little bit more as a contractor with them. So that's
how you got to be where you are today.
So yeah, and I think
you've had a very varied sort of path, haven't you?
Yeah, I made a definite decision not to go back into maps, and back into publishing, and I had this sort of other passion really, which was sort of creating opportunities for young people. And one of the things I think that I found really useful to me when I was sort of working with local authorities and sort of setting up projects for young people, well, I didn't know what my transferable skills were from that, but I think my sort of project management side of stuff.
Yeah, so looking back,
sort of came out really, and when you're producing a map, it can take 18 months from start to finish, and there's lots of other people involved in that as well, in that process as well. And all of a sudden I sort of started realising perhaps what my transferable skills was, and actually then setting up the projects, that sort of came out of learning, realised that there was sort of a bit of a gap there for me. And then obviously with a bit of passion, with a passion for sort of business and that sort of entrepreneurism, it sort of developed into what can I do to help those young people who are sort of making those decisions, those choices of like future employment and opportunities like that. And self-employment and business is one. It's not something that the majority would never sort of jump at that first out, but there was that. There are some young people who do consider it, and obviously with the Kent Foundation we're there to sort of support them. And so for the Kent Foundation, for me to get involved, it was a perfect platform to sort of promote that career choice and that option, and actually knowing that the support alongside it, to sort of hopefully minimise some of the risks involved and give them sort of greater sort of resources to be able to achieve what they want to achieve. So yes, getting the job that I have now is an absolute sort of privilege, really, to be honest, because I wouldn't have. It's not something I've written down that I wanted to achieve, but actually, with everything that I've done and sort of come together, it absolutely seemed the right sort of thing. It was sort of bringing together really sort of business, young people, and also about choices, about young people being empowered to be able to sort of make those choices for themselves and to learn from others around them, how to sort of make those, how to progress.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm going to wrap up in a minute, and I'll invite you to share your contact details if you want to find out more about the work of the foundation. But before we do, a couple of quick fire questions. First of all, what inspires you? Obviously, you've spoken a little bit there about your passions and what you've enjoyed through your work. But just anything you want to share about what inspires you and motivates you, anything that you've read or people that you admire, maybe people that you work with, I don't know. But tell us a little bit about what inspires and motivates you.
Well, I better get plug in for Rowan and Miranda. I love working as a team at the Kent Foundation. My staff team there, and trustees as well, great people to sort of work with. And actually, within all of this, I think the thing that inspires me most, and it's what I see in people, and it's creativity. And I know I'm not saying that because you're quite a creative person, Alan, but I think when you see someone really sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit, or doing something a bit different, that's when I get excited.
Yeah.
I hope I create that culture within the Kent Foundation as a staff, allowing people to sort of try and experiment and give things a go. But it's creativity for me. I'm a frustrated artist. Yeah. If I'm honest, I've got a family, 2 brothers are very musical and good artists. I'm not that person, but I do appreciate creativity, and that's what when I see a young person in business coming with a different take on something, maybe a business that's often replicated, but the way in which they do it in a slightly different way, you just think it's fantastic, and that's what I love, because they've obviously taken some ownership of it. And they've made it, something for themselves, as opposed to just copy and paste. So it's creativity in people and in how people do things. That's what
great.
I love. I love to be able to see that.
Yeah, thank you. And looking ahead to the future, obviously we've sort of talked about the journey that you've been on to this point. What's next for you in your work? Kind of looking ahead, what are you working towards?
Within the Kent Foundation, I don't think it'd be a surprise to anybody sort of from the third sector. It's about sustainability, it's being able to keep on doing what we do. The Kent Foundation is not a charity that provides a quick fix solution. We're developing people, we're developing their businesses, and they can take years. And so we need to be able to, as a charity, maintain that. We've got huge support from the business community, Kent, through our volunteer business mentors. We've got a lot of support from other organisations, and we're constantly looking to sort of partner with people to sort of be able to progress what we do and reach more people. So there's a lot around sustainability, sort of around sort of understanding the impact of what we do better, so that we can communicate that a lot clearer.
I see that a lot with sort of third sector organisations.
I mean, I think we've all had to sort of step up a little bit over the last couple of years, because it's been a tough time for a lot of charities, and it has been a tough time for us over the last couple of years, and better income. So there's a lot going on sort of around the future and what that looks like for the Kent Foundation, and how we sort of, how we measure what we're achieving. And very much of the now, as we're sort of involved in an awards event. So just the now. So there's there's a lot going on. So we're sort of just pulling that together at the moment. So there's a lot of stuff still obviously has to happen on a sort of daily and weekly basis. But we want the Kent Foundation to be there. Like you say, we've been going over 35 years now.
Yeah, it's impressive.
And I'd love to sort of see it go on another 35 years to support more young people in business and give that stability that we sort of talked about sort of to the future business leaders of Kent. I truly believe that, and actually that's historically happened. There are cases where 35 years ago people received support from the Kent Foundation and have got successful businesses now.
That's fantastic.
So we want to continue doing that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for telling me all about your personal entrepreneurial journey and the work of the foundation that you're doing. If you want to get in touch, find out more, where can they go?
As simple as go to kentfoundation.org. On the homepage of our website is a contact, so you can get in touch with us via that. We've got a number on there. So, and equally in the who we are bit, you can directly message myself, my colleagues Rowan and Miranda as well. So there's links all the way through our website to sort of get in touch with us, and we'd love to hear from anyone who's either interested in volunteering for us or getting involved in sort of more project-based sort of piece of work, or as a young person, if you're thinking about starting a business, obviously contact us and we'll see what we can do to help.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, please do hit the like, comment and share buttons to help us reach a wider audience and grow the potential for business to be a greater force for good in the world. And do subscribe if you would like to receive notifications when we release new episodes. Thanks for listening.